What's going on, friends? It is impossible to deny the popularity of the Harley-Davidson bagger these days, and how can you blame anybody because of the functionality, the comfort, and yes, even the performance that they offer today. Guys, baggers have come a long ways over the years, and today, baggers are not your dad or your grandpa's touring bike that they used to be back in the day. So, is it really fair to continue to call the baggers the geezer glides? Years ago, Harley-Davidson touring bikes, they were heavier, they were slower, they really didn't do anything well other than just run down the highway. You had a panhead motor, you had a shovel head motor in there. These things basically only did one thing right, and that was run down the road. They didn't handle very well, but they carried two people, yourself, a bunch of luggage, and that's about all you got for what you paid for back then. But at the same time, they were also a lot simpler as well. I mean, honestly, nobody other than the older generation of riders wanted these bikes because they were pretty much just rolling road barges, and as I mentioned, the only thing they did well was go in a straight line down the highway forever and ever, amen, until the fuel tank ran out. Coming into the 70s, we started to see some interesting things with baggers. Instead of just a windshield and some bags, we started seeing fairings appear. They started getting 8-track decks, they started getting CB radios, and an ungodly amount of very large and heavy speakers because, well, technology back then wasn't exactly small, and it definitely wasn't super light, which really contributed to the weight of the bikes. And back in the 70s, they had a shovel head in them, and I'm not knocking the shovel head here, but at the time, it really had the power output of about a modern day 883 Harley-Davidson Sportster. I know that's kind of shocking to hear, but yeah, they were good for about 50-55 horsepower unless you put a lot of work into them. But, you know, that was alright for the time, but you got to consider that bike still weighed probably about 900 pounds, maybe a little more depending on what it was loaded out with. Definitely not something you wanted to take on a windy back road. They didn't handle as well as the new bikes today. And as I mentioned, they were heavy, which was great. That was perfect for cruising down the highway, but not much else. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, coming into the 80s, this was a really great time. We saw a larger displacement shovel head, we got the Evolution engine, the touring package was really starting to come together. We started to color match the bags, the fairings, the 8-track gave way to the cassette deck. Don't get me wrong, technology was still bulky and heavy back then, but it was getting somewhat smaller. Now, while the bikes were getting a little bit lighter and with a little more power, they were still very heavy and very cumbersome to ride. And not to mention, back in the 80s, the brakes on the bikes weren't the best that they could possibly be. Even with dual discs out front, yes, they were larger than on other models, but they were still pretty small for the weight that you were trying to pull down. And not to mention, you still had the single piston calipers all the way around on these bikes. So, not exactly the best stopping power when you're pushing that kind of weight, trying to bring it down to a stop. Now, for the 90s, touring bikes got even better. They were more streamlined, better colors, better color matching, better lines. It didn't look like your standard Harley-Davidson with just some bags and a fairing bolted onto it. Everything really started to match and flow a lot better. Now, granted, the engine did stay the same, but the engine itself did improve, not with a whole lot more power, but you did get a little bit more power and some better brakes in the 90s when it came to touring bikes. But at this time, they still weren't like the go-to extreme popular motorcycle to ride. Now, by the late 90s, we got the Twin Cam 88. This was a huge revolution in power output. Not saying it was a better motor than the Evo, but it did make more power. But it was at this time we were really starting to see what the baggers were capable of from Harley-Davidson. Now, shortly after the 88 came out in 2003, we saw the Screamin' Eagle 103 make its debut in a bagger. And this was really kind of the turning point. These were the first CVOs, but at the time, they were dubbed the Screamin' Eagle Edition bike. Now, with the custom paint and the Screamin' Eagle engine, the 103, we owe a lot to the 2003 Screamin' Eagle Road King. This is the bike that I feel like was the turning point for baggers. After this bike came out, we really saw the performance coming to the baggers. These bikes were really wild with custom paint. I mean, for back in the day at the time. But that 2003 CVO, well, Screamin' Eagle Road King, this was the bike to have. This was the pinnacle of bagger performance at the time, And then from there, they went into the Ultras. They started doing all kinds of Screaming Eagle bikes. Now, granted, some of them had the 95s, but if you were able to afford one with a 103, man, you had the baddest, coolest touring bike out there. Now, I know a 103 is not anything today, but back in 2003, 2004, 2005, kind of in that time frame, a Screaming Eagle 103, that was a big deal. Now from there, things really started to take off in 2006 with the introduction of the Street Glide. Thank you all for the enlightenment on when that bike actually did officially come out. I made some phone calls. It was 2006. I wasn't sure in the last video. I always said 2007, but y'all were right. It was 2006. But anyhow, when the Street Glide came out in 2006, Bagger popularity, well, the rest is pretty much history from there going forward. Now, carrying on with the legacy of the 103, they came out with the 96 in 2007. This went into the touring bikes. This made bikes more accessible for a lot of people with the 96 engine because let's be honest, not everybody could afford that CVO with the 103 in it. And then for the 96, they progressed to the 110. And now the 110 is where we really started to see what a performance bagger could really be when people started massaging those motors over a little bit. Just like the chopper craze got everybody and their brother interested in motorcycles, which was great because you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing motorcycles on any network cable TV channel, the bagger craze got people excited for motorcycles right after the choppers. But the difference between the bagger craze and the chopper craze was that the bagger craze may have cooled off, but it never really faded out. Maybe just a wild custom portion of it, but baggers' popularity has held on and continued to be strong and even more popular to this day. Now, Harley-Davidson and Indian both have really capitalized on the King of the Baggers series. Now, I understand the King of the Baggers series, there is nothing stock about those motorcycles other than basically the frame and the shell of the engine. And that's about the only stock parts left on those bikes. But they capitalized on that with the popularity of the baggers by essentially showing you what these heavy touring bikes can do. I mean, I think we're about between 3 and 4 seconds off the time of the super bikes that they're turning on these now. Now, fast forward to today's modern Harley-Davidson bagger, these bikes weigh significantly less than they did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They are exponentially more powerful than they've ever been, and dare I say it, these bikes actually handle pretty dang well for what they are. We finally got the 107 engine. That was a big step up from the 103 and arguably the twin cam 110. Then it progressed to the 114, and now we have the 117 available in an off the showroom floor, nothing super special, road glide and street glide models. And I do have to admit that right off the showroom floor, having a 100 horsepower bagger with 130 foot-pounds of torque, that's pretty admirable for Harley-Davidson. Now guys, what a real performance bagger can be right out of Harley-Davidson, granted it's expensive, granted it's a CVO, it is that new 2024 Road Glide CVO ST. That bike rolls out of there with 127 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque. That is highly impressive from a Harley-Davidson right off the showroom floor. Granted, even though it being a CVO, but it does have the taller suspension, it does have the pedal rotors on it, the big brakes, it's got everything thrown at it. This is actually I will dare say this, a canyon carving machine with some pretty dang good horsepower that's honestly pretty hard to argue with, and it comes stock, well, Screaming Eagle stock. Even the basic Street Glide and Road Glide, these bikes are exponentially more powerful than they've ever been. They got the brakes to match it. They even got a little technology in them, and as much as I rag on the technology is kind of nice for keeping the weight down. Where you had that big bulky box of a CB radio back in the day, maybe you had a 8-track or cassette player, a CD player, that's all gone now. It's all one little lightweight screen that does pretty much everything on the motorcycle, and I've highlighted the pros and cons of that back in other previous videos. So guys, today's modern baggers, they're lighter, they're faster, they handle better, they do everything better. And it's very hard to argue with what these bikes are and what they're actually capable of today. So my question to you guys is, can we still really consider it the Geezer Glide? Because even now we got the younger crowd interested in baggers. So guys, be sure to let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. Is it a performance machine now? that's kind of in a touring mask? Or is it still the Geezer Glide? Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But till next week, guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars, and I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.